Hello, everyone. I'm Professor Harvey, and I teach here at Catholic International University. Given that our courses are accelerated terms, I thought I might explain what that means and give advice from my perspective as a professor for excelling in such terms. First, consider a semester. It often runs from fall to Christmas break, and then again in the spring or late winter until summer break. Such semesters are about 15 to 16 weeks for a given course or courses. Whether a course is 1 credit or 3 credits will impact the amount of work expected of students. Most of our terms and courses are currently 8 weeks in length. So a 3 credit hour course with us is the same amount of work, although there will be differences in the kind of work and such from a university that runs such courses over 15 or so weeks. Now, this is important when enrolling in our courses. You will find a helpful guide in Canvas that outlines the amount of work you should typically expect per week. If you find yourself struggling with something and need extra assistance, you may need more time for that. That goes beyond the overall scope and focus of the course to help with those additional things. So, for example, when I was in grad school, I actually struggled greatly with certain citation expectations. And so I had to find that help and work on those things in my time, in addition to everything else that was going on in the course. Another one was when I was studying Christology at Franciscan University, and I had some philosophy, but I didn't have a very strong philosophical background at the time. And I had to actually do some additional reading just to be able to understand the distinctions and philosophical terms, the language that we were utilizing in our Christology course. So that's an example of how sometimes we do need to go above and beyond the focus of the course for things that we need as individuals to strengthen our work in the course. Uh, Now, I want to offer some tips to minimize the chance of falling behind and to maximize your experience in these accelerated terms. The first is be mindful of the time you have, not people in general, but the time you have. If you work full time, have kids in the home, are in charge of mowing your yard, and are mindful of your prayer life, then you don't want to enroll in more courses than you can handle. Sometimes you need to take more. So, this is my second point. Sometimes you need to take more than you would like to. And so that means you need to have an honest conversation with family and friends to find support and understanding if you might be dealing with a more challenging workload that term or that year. An example for me was when I was completing my doctorate, there was this point where it was around the time I started at Catholic International University where I knew I needed to finish by a certain time. And that meant I had to really focus, get things done more quickly, not fall behind. And I had to have that conversation with my wife and my parents, asking people for all kinds of help and just overall understanding if I wasn't at certain events for the family. And in general, we came to this understanding that besides the work I would do at night, every Saturday for about 8 hours until the evening meal, I would be working on my studies. And once a month, I would actually go and stay in a family member's basement for the weekend. And I would spend Friday, Saturday, and Sunday just doing coursework. And I would usually time it around moments in which a big research paper was due. Right. So that's just my example. That might not be something that quite applies to you, but overall, if that's a situation you're in, be sure to have a support system around you the best that you can, and especially prayer warriors as well, in terms of that support system you have as you go through your courses. The third, communicate your appreciation often to those that make it possible for you to pursue your study. So let's say, for example, if you are taking a heavier load than normal because you want to finish by a certain date, and that means all this extra work that you normally would have, and you have a kid or a parent or a spouse or someone that is taking on extra work that normally you would do, just a good, because the fact that burnout is possible for us in the university setting, but also those around us, just say thank you a lot. So that's just kind of my side note on behalf of my family that I had to learn that lesson with it as well. All right, number 4, go through both the syllabus and the calendar and make note of due dates. Yes, the system will tell you of most, or if not all, of the due dates, But you need to make sure that when you're dealing with due dates and at work and things going on in the family calendar, and this course has things due on these days, but this course over here has things due on these days. Sometimes it can be hard when things are really intense and there's a lot of pressure on you from multiple places to remember all the due dates. So it's a good thing to either write them all down or have them in your Google Calendar or whatever system you utilize. Number 5, communicate to your professor right away if you know of any retreats or vacations or units of days where you can't submit work or can't respond to messages in a timely manner. Don't wait till later in the term, do it right away. Ask her what her policy is for such situations and how she would like you to proceed about that loss of time. So that's something to not wait to do. That's something you want to do right away. The 6th point, if you find yourself hit with something unforeseeable in your term, like a major car accident or a tree falling on your roof or a death in the family, reach out to your professor quickly, in terms of as quickly as you can, to make a plan, to know what are your options, what ideas do they have, just to get the conversation going. Number 7, bring your readings and your notebook with you whenever you can, or wherever you can, whenever you can, to help you sneak in some extra work if you find yourself overly busy. So if you're taking more courses than you normally take, and also you have a wedding in the family, and you're dealing with all this extra stuff going on, it's going to be hard to find times to read and to take notes. And whether you do that digitally or by hand, it doesn't matter. Find a way to bring it with you. And if you're at the doctor's office waiting to be called back for your appointment, you're arriving to the movies early or to the theater early or at a sporting event and there's a halftime, or you're going for a walk, bring it with you. My neighborhood knows me as the book guy. And there was a Halloween where I was taking my kids out and we kind of do the All Saints Day thing. And so they're dressed as saints and they see me and they say, "Oh, I didn't recognize you without a book." And that's because when I would go for my daily walk, I would actually walk as I would read my doctoral work, and I would sit there and make notes of things. I would stop and pause and write additional things. So sometimes I would take it with me to a family event and this thing here and this thing there, and I wouldn't ever have an opportunity to crack a book open. And sometimes I would. And so just find ways to maximize those little moments with your studies. All right, lastly, this is the final point, point 8. And this is the hardest one for me, to be honest. This is the hardest one for me. Be okay with not receiving an A in every class. Yes, do your best and learn all you can. Allow yourself to be formed, but don't sacrifice prayer and health in the process. You need both of these, prayer and health, and the support of your community while you pursue your Catholic education. So again, it's all about finding that balance. Now, for some of you, this may be like, I get this, I don't understand, that's fine. But this video is more for the person that is trying to figure out how to balance it all. And maybe simply this video is about putting the conversation on your radar. So whether it's with your religious community, whether it's with your pastor or your bishop, or it's with your spouse and your family, just to have the conversation and to work on trying to find the balance. And some terms, at least in my experience, and students tell me this as well, some terms, if it feels like you can really find the balance. Some terms, that balance is not the same and it's more of a challenge. And then the next term, it's more of a balance. And so there's going to be kind of this ebb and flow, kind of a roller coaster experience in terms of how easy it is for us to find the balance. But the point is, make an effort to find that balance and don't sacrifice your prayer and health. And don't forget to lean on community, which includes us here at Catholic International University. So don't forget to lean on us for prayer and support and let us know what's going on in your life. All right. Enjoy the adventure with Catholic International University. And to all of you, God be with you.